I got to share this crazy story about the practice of law, and in particular, this kind of niche area that I'm in, probate and trust estate and litigation, that really kind of blows my mind. And I know it's something that'll be shocking to every consumer out there, every citizen that's going to be involved in probate or dead people at some point in time. And it'll shock lawyers and frankly, judges as well. And that is this. I've been practicing for 25 years or so, and I really cut my teeth as a litigator and then as an appellate lawyer in the foreclosure world. Way back in the olden days, in 2006, 7, something like that, there just weren't many cases at all that were appealed in foreclosure. I remember when I started, and I was one of the first ones that were doing it in this state. It was just, if the bank filed foreclosure, the bank was gonna win. There just wasn't anything to talk about. And I can remember bringing the first couple of cases, and a judge was really like, literally, what are we doing here? The dude didn't pay the mortgage. Well, why are we even having this conversation? Just give the house back to the bank. Well, if you remember what happened back in 8, 9, 10 to 2018-ish or so, there became this massive explosion of litigation. There were, in this county alone, 28,000 foreclosure cases. There were massive amounts of them statewide, and the courts were just completely bogged down. It became a national scandal, and everybody in the state, lawmakers and everybody else, are trying to figure out how can we just get these courts unclogged. And along the way, we started appealing more and more of these things. You start looking more in detail at it. You go, wait a minute, this is all just wrong. The way we're looking at these cases is completely against what the existing rules and the laws say. And I took one of the first foreclosure cases up on appeal, case called Taylor versus Deutsche Bank. It was over in the 5th DCA, and I remember being up there in that panel over in Daytona, and my first oral argument, in appellate court, and it was really interesting because big shot bank lawyers on the other side, and I go in there, and I was young at the time, had pretty hair then, and you're arguing this case, and you think you know what it is, and you know each one of the facts, and I nailed each one of the facts, and then along comes this opinion a couple months later, and it was just completely the opposite of what should have happened. And that kind of just opened my eyes to, oh my God, the law certainly ain't what they taught you in law school, and it certainly ain't what I think most people think on the outside of it. But this interesting issue of probate in foreclosure, and let me make this point here, because I'm going to promise you this. So in that foreclosure upswing, right, we get tens of thousands of cases filed. There's just mountain of appellate cases, just one coming out all the time because the appellate court started to just get absolutely choked with one appeal after the other. I promise you this, hold me to this. There is about to be a wave of litigation over probate and especially over trust in Florida courts all across this state, all across this country. And it reminds me of what happens here in this office. I was having a conversation just the other day, and it's like, why is there going to be this wave? Why is there this coming explosion of appellate court cases? Because people are doing things now to their parents, to their grandparents, to their siblings that they just would not have done 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I mean, there just was more respect. There's more fear of God. Mom, dad died and somebody's going to screw their brother and sister. They wouldn't have done it because they're afraid mom and dad coming down from above and holding them accountable for that. But right now, there is just a completely flip-flopped sort of sense of propriety, what's right, what's wrong, whatever. And you see people doing crazy stuff that just didn't happen 10 years ago, 5 years ago even. So that is going to provoke just an explosion of appellate court cases. And then just back to this crazy world that we live in. So essentially the entire universe of the rules that we operate under in probate and estates, transferring, and what is probate and estate? It's taken billions of dollars from people that have died and transferring it down to these people over here, kids, new spouses, sometimes it's charities or whatever else, but this is a massive flow of money that's going from the donor class, passing through the professionals of fiduciaries, and then being sprinkled and distributed over here to these beneficiaries. There's like little chickens there with their little mouths up waiting to get fed from the donor class. But I can promise you this, because the universe of the law and the rules is so small, and so much subject to interpretation and given different facts that there is coming a wave of appellate litigation which will start to tell lawyers and judges what this stuff means. So pay attention to that and keep that little nugget in mind as you look at the legal system, because there wasn't any television program law show where it was probate and estate lawyers. But trust me, because it's coming, and the fun and interesting and compelling newsworthy stories we're going to be talking about in the world of probate and estate. Maybe not exactly Ally McBeal, maybe not exactly Suits or LA Law, but it's going to be for some fun social media stuff, I promise you.